What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Graham Potter. Should he be sacked after the Southampton result? If anybody's wondering where the Southampton match review is, it's never coming. I'm not going to repeat myself. Literally, if you watch the West Ham one or the Dortmund one, it's pretty much the same. Plus, I didn't watch the game because I was working that day. And yeah, I've got the gist of it. They were terrible in the first half. In the second half, it was literally like Dortmund. Miss sitter after sitter and don't win the game and concede a stupid goal, which, is always a problem. This time it's a free kick shot. Today I want to talk about Graham Potter, you know what I mean? Because I'm someone who's backed him from day one. You know what I mean? I think he was a good appointment. Was the timing a bit weird? Yes. And I've seen literally on every social media people just shitting on him since that Southampton result. And you know what? There is some validity to those claims. You know what I mean? Losing to Southampton at Stamford Bridge is a disgrace. But people need to remember that Thomas Tuchel also lost to Southampton early in the season. And Southampton have been bad from minute one in the season, not just now. So, but overall, I don't think all the blame can be gone to him. He's got a lot of excuses on why, you can blame others. But you have to blame three parties. And right now, I feel like Graham Potter's getting scapegoated to hell, bro. Like, honestly, all the blame is dropping on him when there's blame to be levied out to a lot of different people. First and foremost, the players. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I've talked about these players over the past few videos. I mean, it's the same culprits, really, that have been letting the club down. Not just for one manager, not just for two, but three or four managers have had the same issues with the same players. Let's not pretend that Kai Havertz wasn't missing sitters under Thomas Tuchel or Frank Lampard as well. Let's not pretend that Azpilicueta hasn't been finished for a long time. You know what I mean? Let's not pretend that Ben Chilwell has been able to defend before. You know what I mean? It's different. It's not different under Graham Potter. I don't know if the players are putting in less effort. I saw a video from someone who said the players could be purposely missing chances to like get him out and not score. I don't think that's the case. I just think the players lack quality and lack focus, bro. I don't know what it is. They just don't care. And this isn't a Graham Potter specific issue because under Thomas Tuchel in the league over the last 2 years, Chelsea have done the same thing. That's why everyone was crying out we needed a striker, and that's why we bought Lukaku. And then last year was the same thing. Hakim Ziyech, Havertz, Mount, these guys struggled to compose themselves in front of goal. And it is what it is. Now Sterling, João Felix has never been prolific in other clubs as well, but it's just a constant thing with the players not being able to finish and making silly mistakes. It is what it is. And if you look at the recent performances, I feel like Chelsea should have beat West Ham. We could have beat Fulham if Kai Havertz had scored one of those chances. Could have beat Liverpool as well before that. João Felix gets sent off in one of the games against Fulham. We could have won that. We could have beat Southampton. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate that you lose those games. But yeah, the players deserve a lot more blame than some of them are getting. Yes, I know Cucurella is getting shit on. I know Mason Mount, Havertz, but that's also scapegoating players because we can give credit to a lot of players, but you also have to shit on everyone equally. It's not like Reece James has been playing amazing. You know what I mean? But he'll never get any criticism, no matter how poorly he plays. It's just one of those. But the second party that deserves some blame in this is the owners, bro. Like, I'm not gonna sit here. They spend a lot of money, but spending a lot of money doesn't mean you spend it right. Like you look in the summer, they spent what 200 plus million on Thomas Tuchel, bringing in players they didn't believe in, like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and then they sacked Tuchel one game after they bring in Aubameyang and they bring in Graham Potter. So not only did they spend a shit ton of money on Tuchel, then they get rid of Tuchel and they're like to Potter, yeah, use this. No preseason, nothing, just jump straight in. And then we had all those injuries. They're like, fuck it, we're gonna go spend another 300 million, and they didn't address the two most important positions. No CDM, no number six, no number nine, no striker. In a vacuum, each one of the players we've signed in both windows are good. Most clubs would take most of the players we signed in a vacuum. But it's about signing players for a system. It's not about signing good players and hoping they work together because that's what Chelsea have been doing under Abramovich. And Abramovich and that team also deserves a lot of blame for building a fucking shit squad, bro. Again, let's not fool ourselves into thinking that signings that we've made over the last 5 years is positive because if you look at who they've signed, N'Golo Kante is one of the only good Thiago Silva. It becomes very difficult to find wins on the list of signings. Kovacic, Pulisic has been a flop. Havertz, Werner, Lukaku, Morata. Like you just keep going down. You see so many flops and like three or four players that are actually good. They deserve a lot of blame for signing some of those shitlords who are still in the team. But these current owners, I think it would look really fucking stupid for them to have sacked Tuchel after spending all that money. Buy some players for Graham Potter. Spend 300 million, by the way, and just say, yeah, we're done with you now. I thought that would be a disgrace, bro. And it makes the owners look stupid. And all those pundits and all those other rival fans who've been calling Bowley and the team stupid and don't know what they're doing playing Football Manager, they will be correct. They will be 100% correct if they go and sack Graham Potter, which I don't think they will. I don't think they will because personally, I believe he should at least stay until the start of next season. The rest of this season, as long as you're not dropping into relegation battles, because, hey yo, we're getting close. Like Crystal Palace are like 3 points behind us. That's what it's getting to. But as long as you're not in a relegation battle, if you can, finish in the top 10, it's no worse than that 2015-16 season. You get a whole preseason, you get some of the deadwood out. Because that's another thing, by the way. How can Hakim Ziyech be in PSG offices and then play the next game? That's not Graham Potter's fault. That's on the owners. He clearly doesn't want Ziyech. He clearly doesn't want Aubameyang. I don't think he wants Koulibaly. And they couldn't shift not one of these deadwood players. That in itself is really frustrating as well. Because Hakim Ziyech is one guy who we know has been a bit of a bad egg over the last few years, bro. He was good friends with Lukaku, by the way, as well. One of his best friends at Chelsea. He wanted to leave in the summer. They didn't sell him. In fact, he wanted to leave the summer before, I'm pretty sure, and they didn't sell him. So, I don't know what's going on there. You couldn't get rid of Aubameyang. You dropped him out of the Champions League squad. Clearly, Graham Potter was not interested in having him around. Still there. Ziyech the same. And of course, Graham Potter's not going to say, or kick these guys out of the squad and make them train by themselves. So, hey, I would, but that is what it is. But yeah, the owners have a lot of blame, the players have a lot of blame, and then finally, Graham Potter has to take some blame. I feel like Graham Potter, one thing you have to criticize him for, because the injuries have started to come back, is the consistent changing of the team. Like, bro, if you look at any successful team ever, you know who's playing in that best team. You look at that Man City team, it's Ederson, Walker, Laporte, Diaz. It was obviously Cancelo, now it's Ake. And then you have Rodri, Gundogan, De Bruyne, and then Phil Foden, or was Sterling, Jesus, and Mahrez, or Phil Foden in there, whoever it is. The same with the Liverpool team. You know exactly who their best 11 is, and then they have 2 or 3 players who come off the bench, and then the rest are squad players. With this Chelsea team, I don't think there's a person on this planet that could name you the best squad. I can't name you the best squad, and Graham Potter needs to figure that out, because there's 2 things you can do. You can either play your own football and implement your own system, which is incredibly difficult, and until you get the players to do that, it will be almost impossible to get good results. We saw even Guardiola and Klopp, when they first came to Liverpool and City, they struggled because they didn't have the players to implement the way they played. So Graham Potter either has to go to a more practical system where he uses what he has until the end of the season, and then in the pre-season, they get rid of the deadwood and they bring in more players that can play the way he wants. Or, you know what I mean, he's going to keep losing games. And like I said in the Dortmund preview, the 5 at the back or the 3 at the back, whichever way you want to twist it, it's probably the best formation to play. That's exactly what Thomas Tuchel did when he came in. He looked at his players. He didn't try and play a fancy style of football because he's known for playing a 4-2-2 or a 4-3-3. He went straight 5 at the back. He said, yeah, for this group of players, this is the best formation. And I think for what we have, again, it's the best formation. You can't try and implement a style of football on players who are just incompetent and can't play it. You know what I mean? Or when you're just missing key areas of the pitch. You can't do that. I think that lack of consistency is the biggest one. Like, you can't just keep chopping and changing, bro. Like, what is Chelsea's best team? Kepa, Reece James, Thiago Silva, Badiashile. Who's the best left back? Lewis Hall's been the best one so far, and he's not even a left back. Cucurella and even Ben Chilwell. I know Ben Chilwell gets a pass because he's a lot of injuries and people like him, but he hasn't been good either. You go into the central midfield, it'd probably be Kante and Enzo, but Kante's been injured since August. That's another thing. Our best player has been injured, hasn't played in the last 20 plus games. And when you start getting to the front of the pitch, it's impossible. Like, no one builds up any relationship. There's no chemistry because they don't know who's playing. And there's way too much competition. And some people say competition's a good thing when it comes to the team, but that's not always the case. I'm also not going to pretend like that lineup against Southampton was good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he rested players and then gave them 2 days off. That's nonsense, bro. You should always play your best team. In my opinion, unless you're playing like Morecambe or Carlisle or something in the cup, it's always the right thing to do is to play your best team. Leaving out Reece James. Reece James I somewhat understand because he's been injured. But Thiago Silva, there's no need to leave him out there, if I'm being deadly honest. Playing Mount on the wing, like, these are mistakes. These are mistakes from the manager. And it does look like Graham Potter is a bit out of his depth and overwhelmed. It looks like he's trying anything to get a result. For me, I would pick a team. I don't care who it upsets. You gotta stop being the guy trying to make everybody in the fucking squad happy, bro. Because if you do that, you will end up losing your job eventually. For me, I'm still Pottering. I think we need to continue to the end of the season with him. I think first and foremost, even if you were to get rid of him, there is no viable options. None. I don't want any of the managers mentioned. I don't even like to talk about it, but I see names floating around. Brother, you don't want these people to be managing Chelsea. Like Pochettino, bro. We've dodged him twice. We've touched my man twice, bro. We don't want him. He's not a top tier manager. No offense to him. Hansi Flick, a man who literally inherited the Bayern Munich manager role when the team was readily built for him. And Bayern Munich You can't judge a quality of a manager at Bayern Munich because they're going to win the league every year. They have one of the best teams in the world every year because they are a monopoly club in Germany. Then you look at, I've seen people saying like Luis Enrique. And I'm like, bro, you think Luis Enrique is going to be able to come into this club? First and foremost, he's not the best of the best manager. He plays nice football. But you look at that Spain team, they struggle to break teams down like we do in the World Cup. When a team sits back, they couldn't break them down. Yes, they scored 8 goals against Costa Rica, but come on, bro. I don't think there's a world-class manager available. I think, if Chelsea want to break that, we're only here for the short term. We're going to try and win a trophy here and there. I mean, I think you need to break that. You need to go for a project manager. Whether you believe Graham Potter is the guy, I let you leave that up to you. I do understand the frustration because I'm equally as frustrated as everybody else. But I just think he is being a bit entitled, or fans to go, yeah, get rid of Graham Potter. Bro, just wait till the summer. As long as, we're not fucking in relegation zone, we're not 15th. As long as it's not a super embarrassing position, then I say, you know what, and hopefully against Tottenham there's a performance. I don't really know what there is more to say. I probably missed a lot of stuff out that I wanted to say, but I feel like the blame needs to be divided equally. Don't just go slinging everything at Graham Potter, using him as a scapegoat, because we've seen that with Chelsea many, many times. And plenty of world-class managers that have used this set of players. There's plenty of managers who have come in and used this core group of players. You know what I mean? And they've had the same issues. It's not mainly a managerial issue. I think the owners need to have a word with everybody. The owners, and if the players are saying, I don't want to be here, then one, Graham Potter needs to drop them, bruv. Make them go play with the under 18s or something. Some people need to learn their lesson at this club, bruv. It's crazy. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I'll see you all in the next one.